Winston, do you have a like a skincare routine? Because you haven't really aged much in my whole life, really. Like,
Well, eat well for a start.
right?
Eat the right stuff.
So what do you?
Well, lots of greens, lots of fish.
Lots of greens, lots of fish.
You know, and four raw mussels a week.
You were doing it before everyone was vegan.
Well, fish heads is very good for you. People don't realise the greatest concentration of omega-3 is in the fish head.
Right, fish head. Top of the morning, Whangarei. My name is Church and I'm a first-time voter. I'm going to be interviewing Winston Peters today. Just at the back of us, he's setting up to do a big speech right in front of Clapman's National Clock Museum. Why there's a museum for clocks in New Zealand, I don't know.
My party's called New Zealand First. Why? Because we want this country first, not second.
Winston Peters, welcome. Thank you for joining, or should I say I'm joining you here in Whangarei. For every other interview that I've done, the leaders were able to talk to me in Auckland, but for you, we drove 2 hours here. So I wanted to just start off with your connection to Whangarei and your affinity for what seems to be the small towns.
Whangarei is always special because I was born here.
So you were born just 5 months before the end of World War II, which to me is fascinating. What about your childhood prepared you for times like these?
Well, I was born to a family of 11 children, 7 brothers and 4 sisters. We were born up in a rural setting. My father was of Maori background, my mother Scots background. We always had, my mother did in particular, supported by my father, a dream for us to get an education and go as far as we could. And it was the most decisive thing in my life.
What has it been like seeing our environment deteriorate?
Well, a lot of people focus on climate change, but personally I've always focused on pollution.
Right.
The need to clean our country up. And it makes good economic sense. Clean environment is great for tourism, it's great for the locals, it ensures you get greater added value to your products, and that's why anti-pollution has been one of our big drives from a very young age, because I think it goes to one's Maori background, the need to be a trustee for the generations yet unborn is a critical charge and responsibility in the Maori culture, if Maori followed properly.
You studied in the University of Auckland in 1970, studying law. You would have been one of the few Māoris studying at university at that time. What kind of adjustments did you have to make to be successful in that space, and did it at all affect you as a Māori?
Well, I know it affected a lot of Maori, but I don't think it affected me in that concept, because personally I was always pan-Maori.
Right.
So I was never, Ngāpuhi or Ngāti-wai or Tainui.
But did they get that in the 70s?
Well, a lot of us did.
Right.
I mean, we had friends in Ngāti Porou, South Island, all over the place, because you were in a very small group of you. Lucky enough, I started with an arts degree first, and there were greater numbers, but when you went into law, very few Maori were going into law back then.
Yeah. You've been an MP since 1978. Now that's when my dad was about 4 years old. So you've seen a lot in our nation. You've lived in 2 generations of my family just being an MP. What keeps you going?
I'm still here because I'm still interested. I'm in politics for the same reason I started. And I don't use those trite words like others use to make a difference. The fact is, I dream of a great country that can restore its past, in the sense we've lost our way in the last 35 years. And funny enough, that's been the 35 years I've been in politics, but I've never ever accepted that was our destiny. And so the last 3 years has been critical, and I'm an old-fashioned responsible conservative. I believe that when you design economic and social policy, it should be for the masses, not just for the few and the very few.
Well, one thing I think that you would think is for the masses is horse racing. Can you tell me about the worst bet you've ever made on a horse?
Yes, I went down and put the bet on the wrong horse. That's the worst bet, when you got the number wrong.
Right.
It only happened once. The horse came in 35 to 1 and I hadn't bet on it. I bet on the one number above. And my connection with the racing industry is that in some ways it employs about 35,000 people.
Right.
That's a lot of people to be involved in an industry.
So that would explain, after the first COVID lockdown, you gave about 72.5 million to the racing industry. And for me that was confusing because it feels like that could be better used in something like creative industries. But what I would like to know is, do you think it's a safe bet betting on the arts and investing in the arts as society moves forward?
This is a 1.6 billion contribution to the industry, with something like 35,000 people being employed. We're a world leader, but we could be double that into the future, and that's what my aspiration is.
What do you think the future of New Zealand First as a party is once you retire?
It's amazing. You know, I hardly got going leading New Zealand First when people were asking me that, because the National Party's had 4 leaders in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So who's next?
You love using music.
Oh, kia ora, how are you?
Oh look, you're a man of the people. But from interviews I've seen you're also a man of music, and I myself am a musician and creative. What song would you play right now to describe how this interview is going?
Well, not particularly this interview, but you heard that song, I Get Knocked Down, I Get Back Up Again? You're never gonna keep me down?
Yeah.
Well, that's a song I like.
Cause every time we say something, they just reply like, yeah.
Are you gonna text more?
No.
Would you win in a physical fight against Dr. Ashley Bloomfield?
Well,
Yeah, nah.
I wouldn't have a fight. I played some serious rugby and got some...
Yeah, I don't know
but
if he's played rugby.
I don't want to talk physical stuff like that. You know.
Did you quit smoking?
Mainly, yes.
Is climate change real?
It doesn't matter whether it's real or not.
It's yeah, nah.
No, but when I say that, it doesn't matter whether it's real. If your overseas buyers of your product don't like you because of your views on climate change, then it's a nah.
Do you think Paul McCartney is the best Beatle?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Are you gonna vote yes to legalizing weed?
Me personally, if you've seen the damage I've seen, and medicinal cannabis is already in now, the answer is no. I've seen so much misery, so much sadness, and there's got to be a better way.
That's crazy because I've only seen parties. But I guess that's me.
You've only seen parties?
I've only seen parties.
Oh, if you've seen the level of destruction in people's lives, starting, because you might be able to start and it won't affect you. Someone starts and is hooked on day one.
And last question, why should I vote for you?
Go and ask your grandparents. Who's looked after them all their lives in terms of superannuation? Go and ask young people who today walk into a doctor's appointment and it's free. I can give you a list for the next 5 hours as long as that. You should vote for me because we're not about talk, we're about doing things.
Well, I like action. And Winston Peters, you sound like a man of action, and I'm very happy to have met you today.
Me too. Cheers.
Thank you. Of the interviews that I've done so far, I think that Winston Peters was actually one of the most disarming. He was very chill. It felt natural to speak to him. I felt like I didn't need to be an interviewer. Previously, my perception of Winston Peters was that he was very politically heated. And meeting him now, I can understand how that can be seen. He called himself a pan Māori. I've never heard that really. I also got to see a different side of him, which was cool. I think the whole thing about this series is that we're getting to humanize politicians, and I think he's the last of a dying breed. Whether you like that breed or not is up to you, but personally, it's entertaining. He should be on at least a coin. I don't know who the fuck this is, but it should be Winston Peters. You taught at Te Aratu Intermediate?
I did, yeah. How do you know I taught there?
I do my research. We have to know. You're Winston Peters. What a cool guy.